Ndikhahlele kuni nonke bantwana begazi, iikumkani zethu zolishumi. Inkosi zonke nendwendwe, ndiyabulisa ngale ntsasa. I am Nkosazana Mavuso, the Deputy Chairperson of the National House of Traditional and KHOI-SAN leaders. I am from Eastern Cape, from a beautiful university town called Alice. I will be your program director for this short session. Please, let's take 5 minutes. I don't want to stand between you and lunch. Kuphekiwa apha ekhaya, uhlalo uhlabile inkomo. I would like to call Mrena Molefe to come into the welcoming remarks. Mrena.
Ha ke lebohe ho motsamaisi mosebetsi Morena Langa Mavuso, ke fetise hlompho ho modulasetulo wa ntlo ya marena Kgosi Siyatlholo, ke fetise hlompho ho marena wohle wa National House, ke dumedise marena wohle a tswang ho di-province. Ka boikokobetso ke fetise hlompho ho di-king tsa rona ha mmoho le queen e leng teng ka hara rona, di-minister, di-deputy ministers, di-stakeholders kaofela tse leng teng kwano. Ngizosebenzisa ke ulimi lwesiZulu ukuthi sifisa ukwamkela bonke abakhona kulomcimbi wokuvulwa kwendlu yobuholi bomdabu kuzwelonke, izivakashi zendlu kazwelonke, ama-stakeholders onke, amakhosi asendlunkulu abuya kuma-provinces ahlukahlukene. Ngiphinde ngamukele nondlunkulu kanye nalabo abaphelezela amakhosi. Umcimbi ke lona esithi asinamukele kuwona, nizizwe namukelekile nibe ingxenye ngokupheleleyo. Siyindlu kazwelonke sizizwa sithobeke kakhulu ukuthi uma kuzovulwa lendlu nibe ingxenye yokuzosinikeza uthando nokuthi nikhombise ukuthi ninentshisekelo engakanani ngesakhiwo sobukhosi. Ngalawo mazwi amafishane ngithi nonke namukelekile, engathi umcimbi oqhubekayo kule session yesibili ungaba impumelelo. Ngiyaleboha.
Matsogo. Enkosi Mrena. Now we are going to take messages of support from our partners. The first one will be Kumama Henrietta from Ukopane Zulu Foundation, but I think she's still outside, perhaps taking an interview. We will go to United Ulama Council of South Africa, Mr. A.K. Ali. Sicela simshayele izandla.
Good afternoon. Goeiemiddag. Mulweni. I greet you all with the universal greetings of peace, love and mercy. My name is Abdul Khalik Ibrahim Ali. I represent the United Ulama Council of South Africa. Your Excellencies, Nkosi, the Chairperson of the National House of Traditional and KHOI-SAN leaders, the Majesties, the all the dignitaries, the honorable ministers. Once again, it's a great privilege for me to be standing here and to represent the United Ulama Council of South Africa. It is a distinct honor and privilege for the United Ulama Council of South Africa to be present at this important opening of the National House of Traditional Leaders in Parliament. We extend our sincere greetings and convey our support for the invaluable role that this esteemed institution continues to play in shaping the moral, cultural, and social fabric of our beloved nation. We salute you for your massive contribution, and in the words of His Excellency, our President, you are the custodians. You are the reservoirs of the good that our country are aspiring for. South Africa is a land rich in diversity of peoples, languages, customs, and faiths. And we are extremely grateful that as a Muslim community, we are given the equal footing like all others in our beautiful country. Thanks to South Africa, to our constitution, and to our people. What binds us together is deeper than what distinguishes us. It is our shared commitment to dignity, justice, respect for tradition, and the well-being of our community. In Islam, there's great focuses on human dignity and dignity to all people without distinction. In this regard, the National House of Traditional Leaders and KHOI-SAN leaders stands as a custodian of heritage, a guardian of community values, and a bridge between the past and the future. Traditional leadership in South Africa is not merely ceremonial. It is deeply rooted in the lived realities of our people. In rural villages and traditional communities across the country, traditional leaders remain the first point of guidance in times of conflict, in times of hardship and celebration and communal decision-making. And that is precisely what His Excellency the President has called upon all of us once again. Your honorable selves, as dignitaries, as majesties, you preserve culture, mediate disputes, safeguard land, and promote social cohesion. In many instances, they are the moral anchors of their communities. As the United Ulama Council of South Africa, representing Muslim scholars and religious bodies across South Africa, we recognize and deeply appreciate the role that traditional leadership plays in nurturing stability and moral consciousness amongst our populace. Though our communities may differ in faith and cultural practices, we share common aspirations, strong families, ethical leadership, protection of the vulnerable, standing for the rights and protection of women, and peaceful coexistence. Our history as a nation reminds us that traditional leaders were among those who carried the weight of struggle, preserving identity and dignity during times of oppression. You led and you stood against what previously was shared by His Excellency the Chairperson against the colonial forces. They ensured that culture, language, and communal structures were not erased. Today, in a democratic South Africa, their role continues not in opposition, but in partnership with constitutional governance. The collaboration between Parliament and the National House of Traditional Leaders reflects a uniquely South African model, one that honors both the democratic institutions and indigenous systems of leadership. This partnership strengthens participatory governance and ensures that the voices of rural and traditional communities are heard at the highest levels of decision-making. We believe that such inclusivity is essential for national cohesion, and we thank our government as well as the traditional leaders for that wonderful program that has been put together. When traditional leaders are empowered to contribute meaningfully to policy discussions, particularly on issues that affects land, social development, education, family structures, and moral regeneration, the entire nation benefits. Our communities today face serious challenges: poverty, unemployment, gender-based violence, substance abuse, and the erosion of family structures, threatening the stability of society. No single institution can address these challenges alone. Government, faith-based organizations, civil society, traditional leadership must work hand in hand. And that's the reason why, Your Excellencies, Majesties, we, the United Ulama Council of South Africa, is here to take hands with you so that we can be able to create a better future for all South Africans in the rural areas, in the vast cities of ours, and across the length and breadth of our country. The traditional leaders hold unique influence. They speak with authority, rooted in custom and trust. Their guidance often carries moral weight that transcends formal legislation. When they advocate for social responsibility, respect for women and children, environmental stewardship, and ethical conduct, communities listen and respond. And we salute you for your unique and significant, deep-rooted role that you play. And the President, in his presentation, speaks about the tree and the root of that particular tree. And indeed, you are that particular root. From an Islamic perspective, we are taught that leadership is a trust and amana, and that leaders are shepherds responsible for their flocks. This principle resonates strongly with the ethos of traditional leadership in South Africa, where authority is intertwined with responsibility and services. We also recognize the vital role the national traditional leadership plays in advising Parliament on legislation that affects
Yeah,
customary law and traditional communities. In
One-
conclusion, I thank you. The United Ulama Council of South Africa stands ready to collaborate in shared areas of concern, strengthening of family values, serving the broader community in terms of the water outreach and other outreaches. I thank you for this wonderful opportunity, and my apologies for the additional time. Thank you.
Let us welcome to the podium Dr. Henrietta Mkhopane Zulu. Matsogo.
Ke lebogela tšhono ntetleng ke dumedise kgosi Seatlholo, kgosi ya dikgosi ka tle ke rialo le ntetle ke dumedise kgosi Mavuso ka e le ena mmusa kgotla gompieno le ka se sebaka ke dumedise magosi otlhe ke dumedise minister I think shintshe bangaze bangixoshe KZN. Ngicela ukuthi ngihloniphe uminister no deputy minister bonke abasendlini siyabonga minister uDG abomama ondlunkulu akere ha re sa batle gore dikgosi di etirong ba ka se tla ke le tlhompeng bagolo ha le ntse le adimile batho borre le bomme ko lapeng. I would like to just say a few things. The first one, ke gore Kgosi Seatlholo, I hope your secretary is here. So I'm going to start just sharing the short message from Penot Ricard. They have been the sole private sector in partnering with us in actually supporting the work that we are doing with traditional leaders. So it's important that that meeting happens. But let me just quickly, Nkosi Mavuso, with your permission, highlight some of, I hope you've got the speech. Oh yeah, I see. They have the speech, Mr. Okay. But if you look at the speech, there's a few things that I would like the House to take note of. The first one is that there will be a youth center that Pernod Ricard is made resources available to the foundation to actually do a youth center in Matatiele, ga Kgosi Lebina. So, ma'am, bendilinde ukuthi uthi wena kuqala. I asaye Eastern Cape ngoba base Eastern Cape bathulile tu anibulele nokubulela kodwa youth center yona nge youth month ngoJune will be handing that over. So we hope that was a request from the Kgosi tsa Matatiele, which I'll speak to. One of the programs to ensure rural commitment to rural empowerment, you can find it at Stilbaai. We all know where Stilbaai is, ne? It's a small little village somewhere in the Western Cape where the people by hand, not machine, actually are responsible for the entourage, for those that love the nicer things in life. They will know what entourage, the gene is, that is enjoyed. It comes from a village. And us bringing Pernod Ricard is to also be able that from any other villages, they are able to say, what can we create together with you? The issue of infrastructure, Kgosi Seatlholo, is that we've spend money with them in making sure the Kgosi gets the sound, the tents, the artificial grass, the chairs, the chair covers. Kgosi Mokoena can speak more about that. And we've covered the whole of Amajuba. The Kgosis there, they've received. Nkomazi, Nkosi Mkashwa can bear witness. Nkosi Mokoena, Bushbuck Ridge can bear witness. And in Matatiele, Nkosi can bear witness. And then if Kgosi Seatlholo's diary, he makes it very full, I'll decide where I want to go. So just saying, Kgosi, have meeting wo sadly. Yes, and we've with their support empowered 8,000 traditional leaders. A lot of you attended the training. You remember, we trained you. That was with the partnership and support of Pernod Ricard. So they remain committed to working and making it possible for traditional leaders to actually be their partner. So I hope I will not be standing on the podium because he is here. I introduced him last year. He will speak for his company and the commitments, but I can stand here without fear or favor that Pernod Ricard has exclusively supported a lot of the programs that I have presented in partnership with Tintani Foundation. So thank very much, Mr. Oke and your team. And I think, yes, as indicated. Let me come back. I would like to introduce myself and Nkosi Mavuso, because I think it's very important. I get Kgosi Seatlholo the question around why are you so committed to traditional leaders and what makes them special as a sector? Yes, I get, so I thought today I must just do in 3 lines, a very quick introduction. Gore ke moradi wa Bokgopane. Bokgopane is ruled the first unified Bafokeng nation in 1800. He was the first king as the son of Kgosi Sekete III. And Bokgopane means the eye, the eye of vision, wisdom. And from Kgosi Mokgatle right up to Kgosi Leruo, who is governing now, it's actually, he is sitting on my chair. Yebo, that's how it is. So Bokgosi ke ba ga Bokgopane. Yes, Bokgosi ke ba ga Bokgopane. From 1800, it came, Kgosi Molotlogi the first, Kgosi, it's in there, it's documented, it's in line right up to ke dikgosi tse tsetsweng ke Kgosi Bokgopane e leng kgoko wa ka. So that's where the Bokgopane surname comes from. And that is why rural development, to me, it's not negotiable. because it's my family. I think you've gone, you see Royal Bafokeng Nation. It's some of us that sat down and wrote. I still have the master plan. That is why, Bakhosi, I am not compromising when it comes to rural development, because I want what we established as the Bakhopane, Seloko clan in Phokeng to be rolled out everywhere. You have the resources, you don't need anyone's money, you just need government to do right by traditional leaders. They come, government builds a dam, the whole dam on tribal land, Mara, they don't want to pay. Mara, if the dam was going to be built on somebody else's land, that person would be getting royalties. Nkosi, Minister, isikhathele ngoku. We need the rural wealth, and for some of us, while I'm enjoying being unemployed, sitting at home, this is what I'm going to be committing myself to. The other aspect that I would like us to concentrate on is to acknowledge, Minister, I don't know, but now I work with KHOI-SAN, that the MCPA structures are not functioning. They are not functioning in the form that they are, and they are not going to create wealth for traditional leaders. They are dysfunctional. And I think in the IGR communications, it's time that we actually address this issue, because it's not working and it's not creating the wealth for traditional leaders. And I think that's part of outlining what Dr. Henrietta Bogopane Zulu Foundation will be focusing on for the year 2026. The next aspect of what we will be doing, we are asking traditional leaders to partner with us in rolling out underage drinking programs. Our children are drinking from as early as 7 years. So it's important that as traditional leaders, where you govern, Baholo, there cannot be a tavern in your village without you knowing. You have the power, because a tavern must be designated by the tribal council. So when you go back home, you need to be able to count and say, I demand a license, and the license authority, you must summon them if there is licenses that are issued where in the file there's no tribal council resolution. The law says so, it's not me. And these are the things that we will be training you on, because it's too much. And this has led, Nkosi Mavuso, 2 lines left. This has led to a lot of the challenges that we are asking partnership for, because it affects the jobs of our children, it affects unemployment. It is the illicit and counterfeit alcohol. The KHOI-SAN assist us. So we need your help. We need your help in 3 things, because this is a problem for communities. The first one is alcohol that is brewed at home. It is the different alcohols in the bottles, but not the actual alcohol that is authentic inside. And you are the ones that need to deal with an economy and unemployed young people. So if you can assist us with the illicit and counterfeit alcohol, because now I want to create jobs. Let's work with yourselves to be able to get the jobs that we need. The second thing that we'll be focusing on is the issue of fetal alcohol syndrome. Abo mama, guys, they show your Royal Highnesses, kings and queens. You are the future of South Africa and our leaders permanently. Yabana China, we came and went. Yes, we come 5 years and we go. And now I'm at home, and I came and I went, and you'll still be here. Can you please assist us with the programs on women empowerment? Because women are creating more problems for rural communities. So it's very important, and those are the things that we will be implementing. Let me thank the National House of Traditional Leaders for the long-standing partnership, both in and out of government. Let me thank the KHOI-SAN. Whenever we call you to come, you are always available and looking forward and excited to see us. But we're also excited to work in rural communities, and to say that I know a lot of traditional leaders are like, yeah, but you went to this one, you didn't go to me. There's only so much I can do now. In government, I could, but now sometimes I don't even have petrol myself to go anywhere. But thank you so much, Nkosi Mavuso, for your leadership. KHOI-SAN se a tlholo re a leboga. Re leboga go menagane, Nkosi kakhulu. Re leboga our Royal Highnesses, our Majesties, we will arrive. Morena o moholo ke paki hore ha ke fihla kwa ka mpuella le ka lefifing. Ya tjhe ya ka mpuella hore ha ke fihla mosebetsi ke a o etsa ke ntse ke lebohile ke a tseba ke sana le di-commitment, but all I want to say is that unless yourselves as traditional leaders lead, unless yourselves as traditional leaders confront what is wrong in your communities, no one is going to come and confront them for you. So let's strengthen you, give you the information, and enable you to actually do what needs to be done. KHOI-SAN Masibi, I want to make him an example. Last year I spoke about you, you were not here, but today you are here. Maybe you can wave. KHOI-SAN Masibi KHOI-SAN, he had a high prevalence of gender-based violence and femicide. And he's a living proof because KHOI-SAN today, there's no man or woman or young people that can beat a woman or rape a young girl because he set the example. And he moved from 98% to 0. So I think we must applaud him. Because he as KHOI-SAN, o biditse kgothakgothi, ha ke itse kgothakgothi ke eng ka sekgowa, ke ntshwareleng bagolo, but convened the community and he led. And when they say a child is raped, as KHOI-SAN Masibi, he took and said, you beat a woman, I shall deal with you. And trust me, he
Thank you.
dealt with anyone. So let's assist each other. We are there to support you. Enkosi kakhulu, Nkosi.
That's all. Colleagues, our just lenient was is Dr. Mokgopane Zulu. Please, let's stick to our 5 minutes. The minister has to address this house. Now I would call the National Heritage Council, Mr. Masemola. Thank you, sir. Give me a round of applause.
Program Director, Deputy Chairperson Khoshilanga. With your indulgence, allow me to ride on the already established protocol and just say, Maoshiaka, Veng Mabu, Diaparadingwe, Kialetamish. I stand before you proudly as a representative and a leader of the National Heritage Council. And I'm just going to give you a small brief background of who we are as the National Heritage Council. The National Heritage Council, we are an agency of the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture, a Schedule 3A public entity created in terms of the National Heritage Act of 1999, Act number 11. And our core mandate, according to the Act of 1999, the Heritage Council is responsible for heritage management for the benefit of the current and future generations in South Africa, with particular focus on coordination, transformation, policy advice, funding, advocacy and education, research and knowledge production in the heritage sector. So the core mandate and objectives, according to Section 4 of the National Heritage Council Act, provides that the objects of the Act are: 1, to develop, promote, and protect the national heritage for present and future generations; to coordinate heritage management; to protect, preserve, and promote the content and heritage which resides in our orature in order to make accessible and dynamic; to integrate living heritage with functions and activities of council and all other heritage authorities and institutions at national, provincial, and local levels. We also promote, protect indigenous knowledge system, including but not limited to enterprise and industry, social upliftment, institutional framework, and liberatory processes. We also are to intensify support for promotion of history and culture of all our people, and particularly to support research and publication on enslavement in South Africa, and also to intensify support for the promotion of history and culture of all our people, and particularly to support research and publication on enslavement in South Africa. The Section 10 also provides that one, coordination. What is coordination? Coordination are the activities of public institutions involved in heritage management in integrated manner to ensure that optimum use of state resources is utilized, and also that we work together as a state institution. Also, policy advice to advise the minister on national policies on heritage matters, including IKS, living heritage, restitution, and other relevant matters, and on any other matter concerning heritage, which the minister may from time to time determine. This is section 10(1)(a) to B. And then core funding activities, advise the minister on the allocation of core funding to declare cultural institutions. And then funding and grant disbursement, make grants to any person, organization, or institutions in order to promote and develop national heritage activities and resources. Funding and advocacy, lobby in order to secure funding for heritage management and to create a greater awareness of the importance of our nation's heritage. Transformation, NHC is to monitor and coordinate the transformation of the heritage sector with special emphasis on development of living heritage projects. Transformation and promotion of access to heritage. Generally, we are to support, nurture, and develop access to institutions and programs that promote and bring equity to heritage management. Stakeholder consultation and engagement. We are to consult, liaise with relevant stakeholders on heritage matters. Advocacy and education. We are to promote an awareness of the history of our people, including the history of enslavement in South Africa. Repatriation policy advice. We are to investigate ways and means to effecting the repatriation of South African heritage objects precisely held by foreign governments, public and private institutions, and individuals. So with all of the above, it is clear that our collaboration, it is important. Why? Because you are our custodians of our heritage. The indigenous knowledge systems is widely practiced within your areas, and you have access to the population, while we are merely coordinators and promoters of our heritage. Yet we also believe in sustainable programs. We support the NHTKL in full, and we say Pula.
Thank you, Chair. Now we would call Mr. Mosala from Old Mutual Foundation, and I would ask Mr. Dlamini to come from Mining Indaba so that they are closer to the podium. Mr. Mosala from Old Mutual, but you are not, oh, Miss. Sorry, sis, Miss.
I am Miss Musala, thank you. Chairperson of the National House, Deputy Chairperson, Honorable Ministers, Deputy Ministers, Honorable Premiers, Chairpersons and Deputy Chairpersons of the Provincial Houses, Their Majesties, Kings and Queens, esteemed traditional leaders, Director Generals and all senior officials, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, dumelang. Ke nna Reabetso Mosala. I represent Old Mutual today. You would have met my colleague Saneli Siwe last year. Sunny has moved on to greener pastures and handed over the baton to myself. Old Mutual values this platform deeply, and it's an honor for me to stand and address you today. Over the past few years, our partnership with the National House has strengthened. What began in 2024 as ongoing dialogue has now evolved into a formal memorandum of understanding, a commitment we are working on tirelessly to implement practically at national and provincial level. The partnership is not just symbolic, it's a working partnership and shared responsibility. That's how we see it. Through the Old Mutual Foundation, we have focused on strengthening resilience within communities. This has included building more than 60 homes in areas affected by severe weather, with all remaining work scheduled to end by March 2026. We have supported 2,300 families with humanitarian relief, providing food parcels, dignity packs, blankets, other essentials, at times when communities have been most vulnerable. Our efforts extend beyond crisis response. As a financial services provider, we have provided financial education, and this remains one of our strongest priorities, because empowering communities with knowledge is key to long-term growth and sustainability. In the past year, we have reached over 1,500 community members across KZN, Limpopo, and the Eastern Cape, and directly engaged 12 traditional leaders. These workshops, some conducted with royal families and tribal authorities, are helping families make informed decisions that will help shape their futures. Looking ahead to 2026, our message is clear. We're moving from intent to delivery, so we are executing. Our priority areas include strengthening community resilience, expanding livelihood support, and ensuring that traditional leaders are receiving the financial education and well-being tools that are needed to support the households that they guide. So this year, our work will expand further into the Free State, Mpumalanga, and the Northern Cape. It was a privilege last year to support the Lenaka Memorial Lecture in Kuruman, an important celebration of heritage, wisdom, and leadership. We look forward to deepening this kind of collaboration in the years ahead. Honorable leaders, we approach this year with a lot of optimism. The work ahead is meaningful, and we firmly believe in this partnership. We can create lasting generational impact in communities across South Africa. We remain committed, we are present, we are your partner in building resilience, restoring dignity, and enabling prosperity. I wish you strength, we wish you strength, we wish you unity as you begin your annual program. May the year bring progress for all communities under your leadership. I thank you.
There's been a slight change. Instead of taking Mr. Dlamini, we would call His Majesty King Sekao Avulkai.
Mandibulele Deputy Sihlalo. Ndibulise endlini ndiqale ngosihlalo wendlu. Ndize nge-members inkosi zonke ezikhoyo. Uminister ngakumbi lo welisebe lakwa-COGTA. Ndibulise nominister abanye abakhoyo, deputy ministers. I-Controlesa ne-Rolesa. Wonke umuntu ndiyambulisa olapha namhlanje ngala emveni kwemini. Let me take this opportunity to greet and wish you a prosperous 2026. Prosperous both in terms of the achievement in placing traditional leadership of the entire country in the rightful place and in a focused effort to achieve that true, tangible, and meaningful milestone. This House has one cardinal responsibility: the responsibility to assert, affirm, and consolidate the place and the role of traditional leadership of this country through the Act of Parliament. The Constitution of the Republic, Chapter 12, Section 211 to 2112, anchored the status and the role of traditional leaders already, and this House must insist on creating enable laws towards the realization of what we want. This can only be achieved when traditional leaders are united. The House, therefore, has a dual responsibility of uniting all of us, first, and secondly, to continuously enacting enabling laws for us to function. We may be traditional leadership from different parts of the country, but African values that bind us are one, much as the Constitution and the laws. We therefore must desist from allowing any federalist mindset for our unity to be practical. Everyone must be angered by injustice done to traditional leaders at any part of the country and not feel unaffected. That's the beginning of the unity for the purpose of restoring the status and the role of this institution. The tools of trade for traditional leaders must be availed to enable them to do their work. This federal approach for leaving this subject to individual provinces is unfair to other provinces, especially the Eastern Cape. The politicians know that we can't speak a consistent language in claiming our space and place if they treat us differently. And we have allowed this to happen for too long. We must ask ourselves, what have we achieved out of this? The members of this House whom we delegated this responsibility must be the first to agitated and to be agitated and to uncomfortable about the precarious unimproving conditions in our traditional communities. I wish at this point to state without any equivocality that there must be a difference between traditional leaders deployed in the House and politicians in Parliament. The difference must be in the collective conscience that here we are restoring an institution that was destroyed and re-engineered by colonialism and apartheid. We therefore must resist the neo-liberalization to our institution. We can't allow to find it transitioning to a coke light. We want a fully functioning transitional institution anchored on our roles and functions we play in our society, because we are not ceremonial institution, but a living institution. My fellow leaders, our people, we also have a mammoth responsibility over the shoulders. Our society is creating zombies out of our youth. The drug and substance abuse in our society is alarming and unabating, and we are at the coalface of it at all. Our communities are dying. We face a wave of new forms of crimes we've never seen, yet we are hamstrung by resources to fully act in collaboration with government. Our headmen and inkosi are rendered incapable by their circumstances before they attend to the scourge of crime. I must say that there is a sigh of relief from what the President said in his sworn address, where he speaks about the illegal foreign nationals who have penetrated our society. They have taken everything. Foreign nationals who are here illegal. We are hopeful that this policy statement by His Excellency will be followed by the state to the latter. Let's build the best livable communities for our people through meaningful contribution by our institution of traditional leaders. Kalomas in the Bulal Wendanamungos.
Okay. Ablaban.
Peluvusela, the Honorable Deputy Chairperson of the National House of Traditional and KHOI-SAN Leaders, Nkosi Langamavuso, the Chairperson of the National House, Khosi Siyatlulu, Honorable members of the House, esteemed traditional and KHOI-SAN leaders, ministers, honorable members of Parliament, distinguished guests. My name is Colin Dlamini. I am the Head of Public Affairs at Investing in African Mining Indaba. I'm deeply honored to offer this message of support at the opening of this important house, a house that stands at the confluence of custom, constitutional authority, and community life. Apologies. This year was our second year hosting the National House of Traditional Leaders, Contralesa, Kokta, and we also hosted the House of Chiefs from Zambia. And we're really honored because you not only attended Mining Indaba, but you participated fully in all the discussions. We were really privileged to have your presence at Mining Indaba, and you really enriched a lot of the discussions that we had. Our partnership will continue to grow from strength to strength, and we believe that the National House has a really important role to play in the mining industry. As the President had said, there's a scramble and rush for critical minerals from all over the world for the critical minerals of Africa. And we are richly endowed with these minerals, but it will be up to us as the leaders in this house to see how we ensure that these minerals benefit the communities that you serve. At Mining Indaba, we not only focusing our partnership on just the one event that we host in February here in Cape Town, but we seek to continue deepening this partnership throughout the year in your various programs. And we will continue to work really closely with you. And there are many opportunities for the traditional leadership to ensure that there is artisanal mining, small-scale mining, it be formalized, there should be structured and training that is provided to the communities. And we trust and hope that there will be a fast track of some of these developments from policy to action. There's also a key issue of beneficiation, and we look to your wisdom on how you guide us to ensure that there is more beneficiation of these minerals at source in your communities. We thank you for this opportunity, and we wish you all the best in your engagements, and hope to see you again at Mining Indaba in 2027, together with other regional leaders, traditional leaders from the region, not only in South Africa, in Zambia, hopefully Lesotho, and Botswana and others. Thank you very much, and I wish you all the best in your deliberations today. Thank you.
Thank you, Babu Lamini. And now let's call Lesotho College of Chiefs, Morena Mohale. Is he here? Oh, okay. Morena. He will be followed by Botswana House.
Maranaka, ke kopa hore all protocol observed. Ka mokgwa le lokisitseng ditaba ka teng, mme ke dumelana le tsona. Mpa tjhe nna ke sitwa ho di bua ka mokgwa le di buang ka teng, ha ke di tsebe. Maranaka ha ke na taba tse ngata ka nnete, ke ho le leboha. Ka hore mema hore re tlo ba mmoho tsatsing lena. Re tlo ithuta hore na lona le sebetsa taba tsa lona jwang. Mme ha ke dutse mona ke hopola taba tsa kapoto ke tsa 1912 ha ANC e qala hore setjhaba sa Maafrika se ile sa kopana ho lokisa hore na re sebetsa taba tsa naha ena rona jwang. Mme ha ke dutse sebokeng sena sa lona ke nahana yana taba e tshwanang hore ka mokgwa o tshwanang ke lebohe o kgosise a kgolo hore ebe o re mmemme ka Maafrika ka ho fapana hore re tlo ba le lona tsatsing lena. Mme mohlomong jwala ka era 120 years or so ka mora that first encounter re tlo dulang hape re nahaneng hore na ke isang setjhaba sa rona pele jwang. President Ramaphosa o buile hore you are the custodians of culture. I say you're the custodians of the dreams of the native child. It is time that you took your rightful place and start also planning hore na where do we take Africa? Etswe ditaba di ho lona marenaka. Mme ka nnete jwalo ka ke itse ha ke na taba tse ngata. Ke leboha memo ena a lona, mme ke thabetse ke ithutile tse ngata tsatsing lena. Mme ke fumana hore ehlile le pele haholo. E le hore re matha ka mora lona re tlameha re shapepere. Re bone hore re tlo fihla mona mo le leng teng. Marenaka ka nnete ka mantswe a rona a mabedi a raro ke a leboha. Kgotso, pula le nala.
Followed by Botswana House. Botswana will be followed by the rep of the South African Network of Traditional Leaders in Drug Demand Reduction.
Khosi Saatlholo and your deputy, the Khosi Tsotle Balohano, honorable ministers Baloteng, Bakotlehi Botle Balohano, ke a lo dumedisa ka pula. As the chairman of House of Chiefs, which we call Nkloyadi Khosi in Botswana, we are delighted and honored to be in your midst during the official opening of the National House of Traditional Leaders. As traditional leaders in Botswana, we have called on a united front against crime, emphasizing a partnership between law enforcement and communities. We advocate for a decisive policy action, specifically requesting that law enforcement should leave no stone unturned for the state to provide resources to our rural areas. We call for traditional leaders in the region to actively fight gender-based violence and drug abuse. In conclusion, we call for the revival of the SADC KHOI-SAN to work together in fighting social ills in our communities. Ga ke na go bua ka lobaka lo lelele, re hilwe metsotso hela e le motlhano, neelwang ke Pula Bagaetsho.
Professor Mashadele.
The Deputy Chairperson, the Program Director, let me take this opportunity to greet the Honorable Minister of Cooperative and Traditional Affairs, the Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture, the Deputy Minister, Reverend Prince Bans Ngamashe, and Dr. Masemola and other Deputy Ministers here today, the Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on COCTA, Dr. Kize, the Queens and Kings and the Majesties present here, the National Chairperson of the House of Traditional and KHOI-SAN Leadership is Royal Highness KHOI-SAN, the Deputy Chairperson of the House, Nkosi Mavuso, the Royal Highnesses, the DG of COCTA here present today, the CEO of the House, the ladies and distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. The African Union-led Southern African National Traditional Leadership on Drug Demand Reduction is immensely honored to be invited in this August House to convey a message of support. The note verbal from the Commission of the African Union that was issued in August 2025 confirmed the establishment of the Southern African Network of Traditional Leaders focusing on drug demand reduction. You would recall the network was formally established in May 2023 during a regional conference or a regional meeting that was convened by the AU in Johannesburg. Most of you were in attendance. It is the African Union's groundbreaking initiative whose aim is to integrate traditional leadership traditional leaders across the continent in drug dependency prevention, treatment and care, and it seeks to expand the reach of community-based interventions in response to the growing burden of substance abuse and use in our communities. I am pleased to confirm that the network is fully operational and continuing unabated. African countries have been experiencing an upsurge in public health problems because of increased availability and the use of psychoactive substances that are trafficked globally and continentally. Alarmingly, the increased availability and use of illicit drugs and of the new psychoactive substances, as well as the exponential rise in the number of people who use drugs, including youth, women, and children in the traditional communities, were highlighted in our Pan-African Epidemiology Network on Drug Use. As the chairperson once said, Africa's drug crisis is no longer a distant threat. It is an urgent and growing emergency. Young people in traditional communities, in our villages, in our peri-urban areas, are falling prey to drug addiction, and this places a burden on rural communities. Africa currently has the highest youth population globally, with an estimated 77% of the overall population of the continent below the age of 35. It was created as a sub-regional, that is a sub-regional coordination mechanism to integrate and to elevate the role of traditional leadership in addressing these pressing challenges of substance use and abuse. Traditional leaders are not at the mercy of the time-limited terms that might impede their capacity for commitment to long-term programs and goals. All national chairpersons of the traditional leaders of chiefs within the SADC member states serve as members of the council on this Santal DDR. It is through this network and the capable leadership of the chairperson, KHOI-SAN, that traditional leadership are now formally recognized in the iteration of the AU Plan of Action on Drug Control and Crime Prevention, which is currently being underway for 2026-2030, as key stakeholders in drug prevention, early intervention, and social reintegration. So you are now invited and you participate fully in that program. In rural areas, this institution is valuable and it upholds African history, culture, laws, and values. Your Royal Highness, let us embrace the recognition by the African Union Commission that we are uniquely positioned to contribute to the creation of the Africa we all want. The recent participation of the institution of the traditional leadership in the mining endeavor that they've just spoken about now in Cape Town, arguably the largest mining investment event in the world, bears testimony to your voice, the fact that your voices matter. We hope you seize the moment to concretize all the commitments to explore discussions aimed at empowering Africa's mineral endowment, artisanal mining, safety collaborative relationships, and post-mining livelihoods, and the integration of communities in the mining economy. Excellencies and Majesties, a compact agreement with the mining houses should happen for rural economy to flourish. The Africa we want is in our hands. The Africa we want embraces its youth. And the Africa we want is inclusive of its women. And the Africa we want is a healthier, drug-free society. We wish you a successful year ahead, and Santal DDR commit to represent you and your community challenges within the region and indeed in the continent. I thank you.
Thank you, Prof. And now we'll call Rolesa Osimasibi.
Ke a leboga motlatsamodulasetilo e re ke dumedise KHOI-SAN moeteledipele a ntlha dikgosi, ke dumedise dikgosikgolo tsa rona, dikunkane, dingwenyama, ke dumedise dikgosi ka kakaretso, ke dumedise matona le teng fano gompieno le batlatsatona le morahe ka kakaretso. Ne ke re Kgosi Malope wa bobedi go tswa ko gang wa Ketsi ko Botswana, o e le modulasetilo wa ntlo ya dikgosi ya Botswana. E re ke go dumedise ka mokgwa wa gapegileng mong wa me. A ke a Botswana ke a ko motseng wa gago, e ko mme a ntsetseng a tsalwang teng, ke a leboga. Setse go dumedisitswe bagaetsho. The organization I represent is called ROLESA, which stands for Royal Leaders of South Africa. It's a nascent organization newly formed, whereby the intent and purpose of this organization is to make a paradigm shift in the manner in which this institution of royalty has taken part in the new South African democracy. The road has been very long and arduous. And let me take this opportunity to thank the National House for this invitation. They've always been part of us. They've always supported us. And we are extending that support to the National House. We thank you once more, KHOI-SAN and your team. Next year, this house will be 30 years old. It is called a national house, but it doesn't have a house. What a contradiction. It doesn't have its building of its own. And we've been made promises that someday we shall have our own very house. There are many issues which Rolesa has tabled before the National House, various ministry and government. The land question. Dr. Zweli Mkhize was with us in 2017 at Beechwood when he was representing the African National Congress as the Treasurer General. It was the inaugural Indaba of the KHOI-SAN where we took a resolution that all our lands must be returned to royal leaders. We gave the government 2 years. We are still waiting. Next day, it will be 10 years to the day we made the resolution. There are many discrepancies in terms of how royal leaders are treated in this country. We had Kgosi Mahura's funeral in December. I was with the minister, Kgosi Tlhabisa, in Kuruman. He was not offered a national funeral. But recently, a royal leader was buried in Limpopo. He was accorded the status of a royal funeral, of a national funeral. We come from a history of segregation. And it is very much unfortunate that our very own government is again perpetuating that segregation amongst us, the KHOI-SAN. And our intention and purpose is to unify this organization. There are many issues to say. Let me pause by saying Kgosi Satlolo and the National House. The road is steep and long. And we don't know for how long, as royal leaders in this country will continue to lament about our powers and function, which has been obliterated by the local government structures. Most of us who reside in rural areas, we know very well that we are at war with municipal councillors and mayors. They undermined us as the KHOI-SAN. They're given budgets. They're even remunerated better than us. So I was very much disturbed when the state president uttered those words that he's extending an invitation on behalf of political parties to come and campaign in our villages. Recently in Mahikeng, in the land of Barolong, it happened that members of the African National Congress went to the grave of Dr. Modiri Molema without informing the members of the family that they will be coming to lay a wreath at their father's and grandfather's grave. So our problems are huge, whereby human relations, whereby common human courtesy is never extended to us as the KHOI-SAN. We have been reduced to beggars. When the government was taken from us as Africans, it was taken from the KHOI-SAN. Now we have a political dispensation whereby now government is being headed by politicians. And we've been fighting for our place in the sun in this new government. You can even tell by the manner in which this house is constituted, the pomp and ceremony which accompanies the opening of the National Assembly is very much different from what has happened today. We have had many meetings We had many engagement with government over the years. Kgosi Suping is here with us today. He's the inaugural chairman of the National Council of Traditional Leaders. He's present with us today. And the years in which he has been part and parcel of this institution of royalty, all the promises which were made have not yet been fulfilled. For instance, I'm from the Northwest Province. The so-called Zamazamas has left the reef. Now they have infiltrated our villages. Kgosi Mangope and Masibudule, Kgosi Mokhale and Bapong. Our mineral wealth and deposit are stolen under our noses. And we have a government which has an army and the police and the intelligence. Meanwhile, we've been told that the mineral deposits underneath our soil doesn't belong to us. So I implore you, royal leaders, that there comes a time in every generation to take a decision whether to submit or fight. The fight has been very long. We have lost our parents. I can name a few. Kosima Tanzima, Prince Buthelezi, you name them. I was very young when I got enthroned. The very same problems they were speaking of, 31 years later, those problems still exist. Nothing has moved. And I'm very happy that the National House is led by Yandi Kgosi, whose attitude to government will be very different from the attitude of the likes of Kgosi Suping, Prince Buthelezi, because they were raised in a different era where they bowed to the leadership at that time and the current leadership. I think it's high noon now, whereby as the Kgosi should stand up and be counted. As Rolesa, we appreciate the recognition which the National House has bestowed on us, and we hope and trust that whatever the President has said today will be fulfilled. I thank you.
Thank you, Nkosi. The President of Contralesa, Oshimkwen.
As a leader, you must always look back and check whether the people purport to be leading are still following you. To the Deputy Chair presiding, my chairperson, our Minister Hlabisa and other ministers, deputy ministers, our leaders who are here, even our leaders from outside the continent, outside the borders of South Africa. Thank you very much for honoring our invite. Chair, in 2023, we said, as the only Congress of traditional leaders in the country, in the continent, the only Congress, we said to the then minister, so Linda kuze kube nini In 2024, we said, angeke kuhlale kunje. In 2025, we said, simbonile umkhwenyane nawo, simbonile umkhaphi, manje sifuna umkhwenyana. Minister Hlabisa, I must say, leadership would say, the kind of attitude that we're having towards traditional leadership when and the Honorable DM Masemula is much appreciated. We are seeing leaders who are prepared to listen to us. I'm here today to appreciate the commitment that we are seeing as contralesa. You engaged us more than all your 11 predecessors engaged Amakos. To us, that won't be taken for granted. I'm here as Umongameli Contralesa Bulawayo to say, unlike one leader who said, the kings, queens, and traditional leaders are like village tin pot dictators. We demanded an apology, it never came. Bulawayo and Honorable Robetse Masemola, including our friend, Honorable Mackenzie. Unlike one leader who said, please listen to this one. He said, this country is not ready yet to be ruled by some unelected kings and traditional leaders. We demanded an apology from that leader. As if that was not enough, one leader came in and said, all the minerals in this country below the surface of the soil in South Africa, they don't belong to the kings or traditional leaders. They belong to politicians. That is the state. My history tells me that before was any government in South Africa, this country was led by the very same kings and traditional leaders, whom it is said today, we don't deserve to own our own minerals. What a shame. As Contralesa, we are saying, Minister Hlabisa and Honorable Masemola, we are seeing a combination of people who are prepared to take us to greener pastures. We don't have any reason to doubt your commitment. I so wish there will be no distractors or gatekeepers in all what you're trying to do. We're seeing a difference since you came in, and Honorable Masemula. No gatekeepers, you are prepared to listen. Chair, with these ones, we're going somewhere. We're going somewhere. Want to congratulate them for taking you serious, Chair. They are, Minister Hlabisa and Honorable Masemola, they are not competing with you, but they are supporting you. Of course, there are the Mtanyana who are trying their best to be detractors. They're going to win. In the language of Amakosi Army, Oyende, Nabanye, Otembe, Bati, Bulawayo. Ikota. And I quote, in the language I am speaking with Hosin Tsangwis and Osem Kandlela, Lui anga de pfuna ni vusiku ni nga yi voni ndlela ni mu khensa loko re shile. In my language, with Hoshram Mupudu, and Hosharin Duambi, we are saying, Munsipicha Busheo, Kimuleba Busel. Fame does not last forever. Do the best you can while you are still at the helm. And please check whether the people you are leading are still following you. Bulawai, Robert, you have our support as contra lesser. Let's continue working together. Really work.
Anakanda. Minister Mackenzie?
Chief Yasulo, and your deputy, Chief Mavuso, Minister Sabisa, Deputy Minister Masemula, Deputy Minister Litika, Honorable Dr. Zwelim Kize, and all ministers and deputies that are here, all the chiefs, all the majesties, everybody that's present. I saw the Queen of the Nama people, Queen Komo. I saw Chief Cecil Lafleur. I had a long speech here, but I'm not going to read this speech because many things were said here and the record needs to be put straight. I have attended, Chief, I've attended many of these functions where the chiefs are present. And every time I come there as a government official, you feel very ashamed. Because you are being lamented, you are being attacked, you are being told how useless you are. Chief after chief, you are being told what you've not done. So today, because Ekbaizani, we are going to talk straight. I must first congratulate you, leaders of the different formations from Contralesa to Rolesa. But, you know, I sometimes, I'm in meetings where Jose Seatlulo is, and many of you do not hear the issues he's raising on behalf of the people. I was in such a meeting today with the president where he was speaking about foot and mouth disease and the devastation it is causing in the villages, where he got the president to basically agree that you have to start at the villages with the vaccines that are coming. But you will never read about those things. You will never read the president agreeing. But let's tell the truth. And I'm going to make a very controversial statement here. Do not blame the minister, blame me. Do not blame Minister Sabisa. Chiefs, let us be honest also. Be very, very honest. How many times you are confusing us because you yourself don't have a good understanding amongst each other. You are fighting amongst each other. You are conspiring against each other. But when you come here, you want to blame government always. If there's a king coming to see me, I get 6 calls. Minister, he's not a real king, that one that is coming to see you, Minister. Minister, you must not see that one. He's not a chief. Minister, and I'm not being called by members of the public. I'm being called by people that serve together with that king. Now when the king comes in, I'm also confused. To say, mutu o kena mutu o, e baringene, or ki bua le tsotsi mona. How tsebe? So that we don't make commitments. Dr. Mkhize will tell you how many times he himself has been told, no, don't respect this man, and you mustn't listen to this person. What you have now, and now here's the thing I want to depart. What you have now, you are at the right, you know when they say timing aligns, there's no better timing than now. Let me tell you why. You have a chairperson here, the house is here. Here's the house. And my cousin, she had 2 serious heartbreaks. 2 men that was playing with her, totally. They broke her heart in a million pieces. One day, after 2 years, she said she's no longer dating. We go to a function. Hey, there's a man there that really liked her. A very good man. She's like, she's still complaining about those 2 that broke her heart, while there's real love here in front of her. She's still complaining all men are dogs. Hey, here's a good man in front of you. Government of national unity is here now. It is a new government. You are still complaining about old things. Minister Tlhabisa is the best. You know, the president knew how to choose. Because he's even guiding me sometimes because me, I don't know these things. I was one day asking a king to stand up. Mr. Tlhabisa was the one saying, no, you can't ask a king to stand up. So this King Rice, this man is not rising. I'm like, this one does not want help. Maybe it's one of those kings that is not Mambela, not original. And then Mr. Tlhabisa said, Minister, no, you can't ask a king. I said, yeah. King, I was talking to the man next door. You can't rise. You are king. You are king. Now, you are fortunate. You know, I was speaking outside to Chief Mavuso, and he was telling me in Robben Island how they are being disrespected. I just make one example to you. I said, can you elaborate why? He said they don't recognize the chiefs that fought in the struggle. We are the architects of the struggle. We are the people. I then said, no, don't. I called the board. I said, you will meet with the chiefs in a matter of 7 days and sort out this issue immediately. So this is the government of national unity. And in conclusion, I don't just want to criticize. You spoke my language here. Mabahambe out of your area. Mabahambe. You know, before I became a member of parliament and before I became a minister, I was even going to the border gate screaming, Mabahambe. I was chasing. Now people say, Mackenzie, the blue light. Mackenzie now is there in parliament, he forgot. No, I want to end on that. Blue lights, more parliament. But what I want to say is that now I'm around the table where decisions are being made. As you can see, the posture of government has turned, not because of Mackenzie, but because of people that share the same ideology with me. The president in State of the Nation was very clear. They must leave if they don't have papers. So I want to say to the chiefs, this is a great opportunity for you. Most of the chiefs complained about the land. Government says the minerals under the land belongs to the state. What's what you wish for? You don't have land. You don't have all the land. You don't have all the land. Some of this land has not been transferred to your name as chiefs, and it should be transferred. But some of this land are being owned by white farmers with lots of minerals under those land. So if you want to extract gold, that farmer will say, this is my land, this is my gold. So it is not the right time to say when I have this land, because a black child in Pretoria or a black child in the Eastern Cape will never then become a miner, because the land belongs to the owner of the land. So you'll have an owner of the land, you'll have an owner of minerals. We will never go forward. So I'm asking chiefs to go very slow, and I'm speaking as a person that understands mining, and I understand surface rights, and I understand the troubles in accessing some of the farms, of some of the land. But Minister Tlhabisa, the chairperson also of COCTA, Dr. Willem Kize, Deputy Minister Masemula, they are doing a great job. I'm asking chiefs today, depth of my heart, you have very good leadership here. Hari kwele into tenyani taolwana. Because if two brothers fight, the enemy is coming to take the bone. Hari sebetana moho, hari bereke together. Let us hold hands. We as government are not perfect, but when we make mistakes, you have leadership to tell us, like Khosi Mavuso has done, to tell me, you guys don't respect us there. But not everything needs to be a fight. Ki lebohile and ki le rata kaofela. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister Mackenzie. And now we would call Morena Mopedi on behalf of the chairpersons of provincial houses.
Ya leboa motlatsa modulasetulo wa ntlo ya marena ya naha ka mfa monyetla ona ke dumedise the chairperson of the National House of Traditional Leaders, the kings and queens ba teng ka tsatsing la kajeko, ministers tse teng, including our own minister cooperative governance and traditional affairs, and deputy ministers, fellow chairpersons of the provincial houses, traditional leaders who are present here today, all guests who are Mita Dialona Yashombo. On behalf of all provincial chairpersons across South Africa, I extend the sincere appreciation for this invitation, for the opportunity to address this distinguished gathering. Allow me to begin by acknowledging and commending the chairperson of the National House for steady leadership, unity building, and elevating the voice of traditional and KHOI-SAN leadership in the national level. Your commitment to strengthening this institution does not go unnoticed. We appreciate the manner in which you continue to position the National House as a respected strategic partner in governance, Realebaholo, Khosi, Yarona, and all members of the National House. Chair, traditional and KHOI-SAN leadership is not an institution of the past, it's the institution of the future. We carry centuries of heritage, but also carry the vision for transformation. Our vision is clear. We see traditional leadership becoming fully developmental in character, structured, professional, accountable, and economically active. The future requires alignment, innovation, and institutional strengthening. As provincial houses, we are committed to modernize our governance system while preserving our customs and values. We are committed to improve administrative efficiency, embrace technology, and strengthening accountability within our councils. We are equally committed to becoming less dependent and more economically sustainable, developing partnership with private sectors, promoting community-owned enterprises, and position traditional institutions as active participants in the economic transformation. Distinguished guests, the strength of South Africa lies in the villages as much as it lies in the cities. Traditional and KHOI-SAN leadership remain the closest governance structure to millions of citizens. That proximity places upon us a responsibility to lead ethnically, to promote unity, to protect land, and to champion development. We reaffirm our commitment to constructive partnership with government at all levels. We support programs that advances rural development, infrastructure expansion, youth empowerment, and inclusive growth. Beyond support, we are ready for implementation. We are ready to collaborate with tourism promotion organization. We are ready to strengthen agricultural value chain. We are ready to facilitate responsible investment in the traditional areas. We are ready to build a stable, peaceful, and economic vibrant communities. Under the leadership of the national chairperson and through amongst provincial houses, we can reposition the institution of traditional leadership as a strategic pillar of a national development. Let us reinforce unity amongst provinces. Let it reaffirm that traditional leadership in South Africa is organized, visionary, and prepared to lead into the future. On behalf of all provincial chairperson, we thank you for this platform and reaffirm our collective commitment to dignity, development, and disciplined leadership. The future of traditional and KHOI-SAN leadership is not behind us, it is ahead of us. I thank you.
Thank you, Umbrena. Let me take this opportunity to have our address from the Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs. Bulawayo.
Thank you very much, Chairperson of the session, who is the Deputy Chairperson of the National House, Nkosi Mavuso. Sorry, I wanted my paper here. And the greetings to the Chairperson of the House, Khosi Siatlolo, Your Majesties, our kings and queens, the leaders of the provincial houses that are present here, as well as the local houses, the presidents of Contralesa and Rolesa, who have shared their views candidly and very clear. Our partners in business, in civil society, I do want to convey the apology on behalf of Minister Mackenzie, who has just left because his commitment was to be here until 1:30, as he is sharing another meeting. So his departure must not be seen in any way as a sign of disrespect that once he has spoken and then he left. It's because in terms of the timelines, he also knew that he will be here until 1:30. And greetings to the Honorable Deputy Ministers, Deputy Minister Masimula, Deputy Minister Letsike, and Deputy Minister Masimula will have to leave immediately before 2:00 because we are en route to Free State this evening And the timing was that we must leave by 2 o'clock in order to catch the flight to Bloemfontein. And I also want to greet the chairperson of the portfolio, the Honorable Dr. Mkhize, members of the COCTA portfolio who are in our midst, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank this opportunity to address the House at its official opening for 2026, and also to respond to the messages we have heard today with a commitment to action. Kabazela, I acknowledged you while you were outside because you are here on many, you are wearing many hats. We really acknowledge you. Honorable Chairperson, I firstly want to respond what has been raised just before I came to the podium. And as a result, I will not go through what I have prepared in order to address what has been raised sharply in this platform. As the leadership of the ministry during the 7th administration, which I must put on record the apology for Reverend Prince Bans Ngamashe, who has been assigned by the president to other duties today as he is not present. As you rightly know, that he is delegated to deal with matters of traditional affairs within the department. We appreciate the candid speaking by our traditional leaders. And especially, we appreciate when we see people who are senior in terms of age, being frank and calling it as it is. Because as government, we carry a responsibility of rectifying the mistakes of the past to ensure that whatever that did not go well, we attend to it during our lifetime. I want to respond firstly on the differentiated treatment so that our kings and our traditional leaders can leave this house with a clear understanding how things sometimes happen. It might have been an oversight as the reference was made on how the two departed traditional leaders were recognized differently. I think a national chair going forward, we will need to assist each other in this way. For a king or a traditional leader or a prominent member of a society to be given a provincial or national recognition in terms of a funeral, in most cases, it becomes the provincial government that makes a request to the president, and the president accedes to the request. And this is what happened in the two cases. The last funeral it was the premier of the province who made a request for a state recognition of the funeral, and the president responded. Myself, the national chair of the house, we went to Northern Cape to bury the long-standing member of this house. It might have been an oversight, which I say, Chairperson, and all the members of the house, we would need to assist each other to cover these gaps. The heavy schedule of work sometimes makes us not to see the blind spot and only realize late that there was an omission. But I want to assure Host Masibi the history of differentiated treatment has passed. We are in a stage now of engaging. And we want to ensure and also convey that our doors as a ministry are open to everyone. When a suggestion is brought forward, we consider it earnestly. So now, whenever you feel there is a differentiated treatment, we just like to request being proactive when you see what's supposed to be recognized by the government and you do not see an action earlier, so that we do not speak after the effect. So now I really want to say on behalf of the government, the differentiation that you saw might not have been intentional. It might have been a blind spot. And what made things difficult, it happened in the middle of the festive season. Middle of the festive season, and we all understand festive season sometimes make people, their attention a little bit focused on other things. But going forward, because we are a custodian as a department on behalf of the government, but in most cases, it becomes the provinces who takes an initiative and the president respond accordingly. That is the first thing I wanted to respond to. The second one, Chairperson Jose Siatlolo, I think this is what we must also resolve, Tau, the issue of the house. We will give a better report next year, 2027 opening of the National House. We had again Jose Masibi, when you made reference that this is called a house, but it doesn't have a house. Yeah, that somehow it doesn't sound well. There is a progress that has been done, but I think it will be improper to dwell on that progress, because all we need to do with the executive under prevailing limitations. You are aware the parliament, when it meets, it uses a marquee, because there is no any other building within the precinct. Now, there is an identified place. The only thing, it is outside the precinct. That is why I'm saying we will report a better story next year. Whether can we opt for a structure that is outside the precinct, or we wait for many years until we have a structure within the precinct. I'm sure our engagement and the respect we give to the leadership of the House, we will find a common ground. That at least maybe it can be better off, have a house closer to the precinct, but outside the precinct, than waiting for 10 years. We had that point. And the chairperson of the House and the committee are raising it constantly whenever we have engagements. The political parties not giving due protocol. I think we'll take the responsibility again here. Myself, Deputy Minister, I still have Deputy Minister Letsike, and we have one of the senior leaders, Dr. Mkhize, that the concern which is expressed when our royalty are not given courtesy, most of the political parties sit around the table in the GNU, and very few outside the GNU. The president did the appeal, and he also apologized on behalf of the political parties, but we heard the message very strongly that despite what the president has said, our royalty feels the political parties are not giving them the due respect. And we have a responsibility to convey to our colleagues, the leaders of political parties, that the institution of royalty still have a feeling that things have not changed. They are still treated as they were treated in the past. I'm not apportioning blame to anyone amongst the political parties. The only responsibility that we can do is to take this message as it is. That for a good working relationship and for building an inclusive, respectful society, our political NGOs must ensure that this is going to be a hectic year, a very rough year, the election campaign, that they must ensure that a due respect is given to our royalty. Yes, the issue of Zamazama, as it was referred to, I think we must appreciate the government that the intervention the president announced during the SONA, the deployment of the SANDF, is going to attend to the issue of Zamazama. But then the issue of minerals, underground, and the issue of land. I will touch on the issue of land as I go down. I think other issues, I'm not going to respond now, which were raised, but we took note of them. And I want to assure the House that during the 7th administration, we made a commitment as leadership of the ministry that we need to open our ears and spend more time in listening. And then once we have listened and synthesized well what is raised even by someone whom we may differ, we need to find a common ground so that we take our nation forward. We gather at a time when traditional leadership is making a principled demand. The demand that has been communicated here is clear. That is, the government partnership must move from promises to action and proof. We have said it clear that over 31 years, we are still not happy. A number of promises had been made, but when it comes to proof and action, things are not matching. Over the last year, the country has had the frustration in rural areas about land questions, slow and uneven basic services, and the need for genuine inclusion of traditional leadership in local decision-making. The president's address this morning was unequivocal. He clearly spelled out that our democratic and traditional governance systems must work in an integrated manner that ultimately serves the people of South Africa. I want to assure this House, therefore, that this is the work we will accelerate this year. Let me applaud upfront the good working relations between the House and the Ministry. I communicated it well last year that the only structure that made the Ministry to extend the closing date for the review of the white paper, it was the National House that wrote a letter to us through the chairperson requesting the extension of the closing date. All other structures followed after the House, and we had already responded to the House when other sectors were making requests for the extension of the deadline. This is an indication that we are willing to listen and we are willing to take an action whenever the information is conveyed to us. Our commitment as the Ministry is to structure this partnership where the law permits. In line with the review of the white paper on local government, we have dedicated a full chapter on traditional and KHOI-SAN leaders in a document that is going to be published soon. The full chapter in the white paper was a submission by the National House. And we have synthesized all submissions. In the first 2 weeks of March, we will be seeking an audience with the National House in order to discuss that chapter and confirm whether the chapter contains the aspirations of our traditional and KHOI-SAN leaders, because we want the white paper on local government as it is being reviewed to carry a strong voice of our traditional and KHOI-SAN leaders. The chapter on traditional and KHOI-SAN leaders in the review white paper that is being processed gives our traditional and KHOI-SAN leaders a defined role within municipal planning cycles so that integrated development plans, land use decisions, and infrastructure priorities are shaped with communities, not for communities. The National House contributed extensively in this chapter. As I have said, we are going to come back to the National House before we publish the final draft by 31 March 2026, so that we confirm that this chapter really carries the aspirations of our traditional institution. This is a clear demonstration that we just did not want to take the views and run away with the views. We took the views, we synthesized them, and we will bounce them back again to the House to ensure What will go to the final draft is what the House will be saying. This expresses the view of the traditional and KHOI-SAN institution in our country. The recommendations that are going to be carried by the white paper on local government will be embedded in district development platforms thereafter, so that this House can track and participate in the implementation district by district. Again, in strengthening inclusive governance, we will align the Forum of South African Majesties and the South African Queen's Council with the House statutory process in a way that respects the law and each institution's role. As the traditional and KHOI-SAN leaders will know, that last year we formally constituted the Forum of Our Majesties, as well as the Council of the Queens, which are spouses to Our Majesties. Pardon me of using the word spouses. I'm separating the Queen because the word Queen does not refer to reigning queens. The reigning queens belong to the Forum of their Majesties, but the Queen's Council is for Ondlunkulu, Bokumkani, Nizilo, as a supportive structure to our kings. We do understand that these two structures, the Forum and the Council, do not have a legal standing. It is the National House that have a legal standing. And we want to ensure that we do not duplicate or conflict roles, but the Forum and the Queen's Council will have a way of ensuring that their voice is conveyed to the House so that their aspirations are taken into account. The third thing that I want to commit to this House, Honorable Chair, is our commitment on climate resilience as a developmental imperative. Over the past year, floods have again devastated communities, reinforcing the call from the presidency for Amakosi to work hand in glove with disaster teams and to discourage settlement in flood plains. This is one agenda that we will be pleading to our traditional institution, that we work together on it, because the effects of disaster are real in our country. And we have many people in our traditional communities who were allocated land on flood plains. It is just a time-ticking bomb for those people to be affected by floods. We are going to initiate a discussion and a program that we want our royalty and all sectors of the community, that we start talk to our communities in floodplains to relocate before something bad happens. I'm sure you are aware, Your Royalty, in Limpopo, where communities' houses were washed away by the recent floods this year. And we know these communities throughout South Africa who are residing on floodplains. Some of them are in urban areas because they are coming there to look for jobs. They can't have money to buy sites. But most of them are in the communities under our traditional leaders. It is time we talk to our people to relocate before they are swept away and we start lamenting of a disaster. This is an appeal which we think we need to make to this House so that jointly we work. I'm asking every traditional council to formalize partnership with municipalities and provincial disaster centers for hazard mapping, stormwater maintenance, and community early warning drills. These local risk maps will be integrated into provincial plans before the winter season. This is how we can save lives, by aligning national capacity with local custodianship. Another commitment that we want to make to this House, Honorable Chair, is to end initiation fatalities and injuries. Over the last year, we have intensified our engagement with kings, traditional leaders, and Chapter 9 institutions around the customary initiation. I do want to emphasize and elevate this point. As a department, we believe customary initiation must be protected and must be taken from one generation to the next, because it defines who we are, but it should not result to death. I'm sure some of our royalty may not know, over 10 years, from 2016 to 2025, 669 young boys have died in the process. And 124 young boys have undergone amputations over this period. There is no nation that can sit as if nothing is not wrong. When we speak of these figures, this year, we had a good engagement 2 weeks ago with all key stakeholders around customary initiation. And we will adopt a zero tolerance approach on negligent behavior that eventually taints the culture. Because we are proud of many initiation schools every year where our young boys go there alive and go back to their families fully alive. We are very proud because there are so many schools every year successfully zero deaths. And we want the support of our royalty on consequence management. This year, winter season, we are going to be tough in order to save lives. In terms of compliance, and we want to appeal our royalty because you are the custodian of this culture. Most of our royalty have been part of this engagement. I can see even our traditional leaders who are in this gathering, whom we met in Johannesburg 2 weeks ago, and we need to end death of our young boys, and we need to bring to an end the amputation that is happening to our young boys at their early ages. This is a commitment that we are making, and we are appealing that our royalty become part of this commitment. As a ministry again, Chair, we want to commit the ministry to you in safer and healthy communities. Under the leadership of the chairperson of the House, the Southern African Network of Traditional Leaders on Drug Demand Reduction is working with the Central Drug Authority and Southern African Alcohol Policy Alliance to prevent substance abuse and reduce harm. We want to commit ourselves to you, Chair, as you are leading in this area, that our traditional institution, when it comes to protecting our communities on substance abuse, our traditional leaders must be in the forefront, and we will do everything, Chair, to give the full support as you are representing us as a country in this space. And the last commitment I want to make is in relation to giving a complete recognition to KHOI-SAN. I do acknowledge the chairperson of the NKC who is present. As the president indicated, we are working hard to ensure that the traditional and KHOI-SAN leaders bill go through all processes, because this will be the only piece of legislation that will give full recognition to the KHOI-SAN communities and allow the KHOI-SAN to take their seats in the local, provincial, and national house. We will be dedicating our time working together with Dr. Mkhize as the chairperson of the portfolio to see this bill being achieved at the earliest we can, so that the 7th administration ensures that the KHOI-SAN communities receive the full recognition. And lastly, Chair, is the commitment to land, livelihood, and heritage as engines of rural renewal. Honorable Chair, I committed to the President during the photo session that we will be working closely with Minister Nyonso. We heard your comment in terms of the commitment he made, and we are going to encourage him and also support him to ensure that the communal land tenure bill is processed timeously, as it talks to the heart of the feelings of our royalty when it comes to the land question. Having said that, I wish this House a successful year, as it is going to be a hectic year for our government. And we are looking forward to a new dispensation of the local government system that will make our royalty to be part and parcel of the development of our communities. Having said that, Honorable Chair, I want to conclude by saying, as we open the program of this House, let us make a compact. You will continue to lead from the front. We will match that leadership with timely, concrete action and transparent reporting. If we move in step, then when this House opens against next year, we will be able to point together to progress that has been done in advancing the cause of our royalty as a key institution in our country. This is the nation-building commitment we make to this House And we commit ourselves that the commitments that I have made, we will be delivering it to you, Chair, during the course of this year. And definitely, when we open the House next year, we will be reporting a different subject in terms of the progress made, because we respect the House, we respect the royalty, and we share the same sentiments. That 31 years is a longer period for the issues of concern to you not being addressed. Rest assured, we are a collective. As you see, Dr. Mkhize, my two deputy ministers, this is a collective from COGTA that is very clear of your concerns, and the time has come for these concerns to be resolved once and for all. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you, Minister. Now we'll call Ngozi Joy for the vote of thanks. Inengul.
Mandi kahlele. Nindivumele, in the interest of time, may I do the acknowledgements as I proceed with the vote of thanks. I've been requested to do a vote of thanks by the National House of Traditional and KHOI-SAN leaders. I've got two options. It's either I do it the African royalty way or I do it the government way. But you all understand that we are in the parliament precinct, so there are protocols that we need to follow. Because if we were going to do it the African royal way, I was going to, when I end, I was then going to say to you, we've slaughtered a beast, we've got African beer, umqombothi, our traditional beer, and I was going to show you into the rooms where you're going to be sleeping. But now, unfortunately, I have to do it the government way, of which I have to also say that one day is one day, as Nkosi Masibi had said. I wish to thank our current partners and also our prospective partners. Sivile, nithethile, nitsho kwavokotheka, and looking forward to us proceeding with the partnership that we have and our prospective partners. We are going to establish something formal, most definitely. Kwikumkani nakwikumkani zethu, ndiyambona ukumkani uMotha ukhona. Siyabulela zikumkani. Siyabulela kakhulu, nisoloko nisinika umkhombandlela. Indlela ekufuneka senze ngayo. Kuba njalo ke, nimane nithi gqolo nisikhumbuza. Enkosi kumkani. To our Honorable Minister, Bulawayo Sivile, we are getting into 2026, and we heard you very well. Please also consider that we're on the verge of a new financial year. So siyabulisa, siyabulela in advance. Minister wethu ke in absentia, Minister Mackenzie, ngelishwa kanti zazi iziduko zakhe. Izithakazelwa nzazi zakhe, kodwa ke ndiyawuzazi ngenye imini. Oh, ngikhabazela. Siyabulela nakuye in advance with the work that we are going to partake in naye sihlalo. Because I am sure that he sees the opportunity that we can partner and proceed in the progress of our communities. To our deputy ministers, as the present, nani niqaphele nibonile, and you heard from the president's speech, the work that we need to do in changing the lives of our rural communities. Nisibulelele ke naku umntana omhle, umntanegazi, uReverend Zweliyajika Nxamashe. Nisibulele kakhulu kuye because we know very well beno minister bayasebenzisana kakuhle kakhulu. To our provincial chairpersons and our deputy chairpersons, you know very well that you are our support system. Siyabulela kakhulu. Kwikontralesa nerolesa. Your roars are not distant. Your roars are heard very well and sound. And they are shared by the institution yenu, a statutory entity ke yona. Siyabulela kakhulu. Chairperson and chairpersons of portfolio committee, kunye nazo i-members portfolio committees, Kabazela siyabulela kakhulu ngoba uthatha ixesha lakho ube lapha. Uzonyamezela nje ukuhlala uve ingxaki esinazo, nizokwazi ke ubonisana xa nixoxa ngelithi inkosi zizongena phi ziphume phi. Chapter 9 institutions siyabulela kakhulu ngoba nibe lapha. Sibulela ke naku sihlalo nosekela sihlalo wethu for setting the sail for the ship of 2026. This is our main voyage for 2026 sihlalo. But we can see even in the coordination of the planning of the official event for the opening ukubana kuzolunga. Kukhona okusondelayo. Siyabulela isikhokhelo senu nizokhokhela ke i-officials zethu from EDGs koJobe njalo njalo. Ndiyanicela ke. Ndiyanicela. Ze ningathi ndidlisiwe. Siyabulela nakondlunkulu bethu. Ondlunkulu bethu, through the lifelong contract, they find themselves daily servicing abantu bethu. Sithi singekho kuyokhalwa kuthiwe ndlunkulu, mama wesizwe, Ndlovukazi, sisengxakini. Sibulela nakuni okusinyamezela sithi asikho sikwi-National House singafumaneki ezifonini. Nanku ke utata osoloku esithi masivale ifoni. Siyabulela kakhulu. Ze inkomo zenu zizala mathokazi. Ninonke nofuye edolophini zimzalele loo nto ayityebisayo. Siyabulela kakhulu kwande bathi.
Matiba. Now we have come to the end of this session. Lunch will be served at Old Assembly Restaurant. There are combis outside that will be taking people to Old Assembly, but the combis will start with members. Jobe, bekuvuka andazi ke noba le meeting ivalwa ngomthandazo, uJobe ke wathi parliamentary or African. Chair, I can rely on you. Masicele uNdlunkulu ozivayo azosithandazela kule ndlela sayihamba kulo nyaka. Umama okhoyo azosivalela ngomthandazo.
Thank you very much, Deputy Chairperson, Program Director. Francis Valamehlo. Father God, we thank you for the time that we've had in this precinct where you gathered us under this roof for us to deliberate and appreciate the words of the President in setting the tone for us as a house this year. We also appreciate all of the words of wisdom received and the support that has been received from everybody. And we ask, Lord, that you keep the leadership of this house. You keep the, also the leadership of the provincial houses and ensure that that which you have entrusted in them, they are able to deliver to their communities. In you we trust and we ask for your blessings for the day. Thank you. Amen.
Umama besivalela owam minister. Usisa chant. Everybody is invited for lunch.